Welcome to RYSK, or Roguelikes You Should Know, Episode 1. We're talking about Dead Cells, and with me, this is SkipMcLazy here, and with me is R30. Say hello.
Hi there, folks.
We may have some of the other people from Rogue HQ dropping by at some point as well to talk some Dead Cells, so kind of this is sort of like a little bit of a podcast, but it's like a video game will be played while the podcast is going on. Dead Cells, I'm super happy, R30, that you're able to join me because you are much more of an expert on this game than I. Yeah, much more of an expert than I am. I know you played it all through its pre-full release. Oh, I was actually in the middle of a game. Let's restart. I was just testing everything to make sure it looked okay.
Let me take a quick look to see when I actually started playing Dead Cells for the first time. Might take a dig into here. About February of last year, so what update would that have been?
February. That was really early on. That was really early on in the game. Oh boy, I'm given some interesting options here. Electric whip. I suppose I can take the electric whip. That's not bad. So here's a question for you. The Spartan sandals I'm being given as an option right now. While you're digging into that, we can talk multiple things. So obviously, if you're not familiar with the game, you start off and you're provided options of certain starting weapons. I've got a file kind of partially unlocked, so I've got the random starting weapons going on. What is there a good use for the sandals attack? I feel like it's so low DPS. What the heck am I actually... What's the goal with taking that one?
So the fun fact about the Spartan sandals is that they have never really been all that great. They have gotten a bit of a buff with the 1.1 updates, such that they aren't nearly as bad, but their main tactic is moving enemies either off of cliffs or into walls.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm hearing notes that the
Gravity
audio's a
is
little
your
bit
friend.
audio's a little bit low. Is that any better now, Jagan? We're trying to... First episode, things tend to sometimes be a little bit tough here. Much better. Okay, great. Raise some of the volumes. So yeah, so the gravity is your friend. That is definitely something that's interesting that I found about the game, is that a little bit of a ledge, enemy falling off said ledge will die instantly.
It also works for the enemy that's underneath said enemy that falls off of that ledge.
Oh, I was not aware of that. I actually don't know that I've ever knocked... Let's see here, make sure I've got the buttons correctly. Okay. And I know a big part of the game is the parry, which I'm starting to finally get better at, which is watching the little red... Whoops, of course I messed it up there. Okay. There, look at... I lost how much health trying to get the parry down? At least I got some food there to reward me for my stupidity of standing there getting hit repeatedly by arrows, but what you gonna do?
Yeah, no, looking at the change logs for stuff, I actually started playing in the 0.6 update, which was the update that ended up adding the Hand of the King.
Oh, really? So what was the end of the game kind of early on? What was there?
So when the game was still in early access, before the Hand of the King, the final boss was actually, I think at that point, would have actually been the assassin, or timekeeper as she's known as now.
Sure, okay.
It's just that over time, but even before that, which would have been probably late 2017, the final boss was actually the Watcher, who now is known as the Conjuvictus.
Parry, hooray!
I will say, the thing, when I first started playing the game, I didn't really click for me the whole parry timing or the parry mechanic at all, so it took me a while to finally get to the point where I felt comfortable with the parry tactic, and my gameplay improved a ton at that point.
Yeah, it's something I've just recently started figuring. I mean, certainly, you know, if you're familiar with, you know, I think like Enter the Gungeon, I guess depends on the character playing Nuclear Throne. There's a few others as well where dodge rolling really is, you know, getting those iframes when you do things like that is really the way to go. You have that same mechanic in Dead Cells, which is the iframes while you do a little bit of a roll. So your temptation when you're first playing the game is to spend all your time kind of dodge rolling out of the way. But there's this nice thing that they do where they get this exclamation point over their head where if you block right when they do that, you parry. I got 2 successful parries in a row right there. Now, how do you parry this guy here who's throwing these red orbs?
You can actually parry the grenades.
Oh, so when they're at you, just like the arrows, you'd parry those?
It's a bit of a tougher parry timing.
Yeah, I missed that one. We'll try to get it. We'll get him next time. Hey, we got Cry4 rating us. Thank you, Cry4. Alerts must not be working tonight. They should be. Oh, well. First episode, we're bound to get glitches. Don't hit me. Oh, that actually works.
Yeah. One of the other things, though, is that... yeah, I just barely saw the parry timing on the first bomb there. The thing is, though, is that it's a combination of parrying and dodging is going to be the most effective.
Ouch.
Part of that is because just it takes time to parry, of course.
Yes.
While you are parrying, you can't be doing other things, and sometimes while you are attacking, parrying is not something you can do either. You have to wait for the animation to finish.
Right.
But dodging will usually knock you out of those animations early, so kind of a animation cancel, if I understand it correctly.
That's actually kind of nice. I like that. Well, and Cry4, if you like, we just got started. You can feel free to hop in and join us if you are free. Cry4, bringing the raid here, but also one of our other rogue leaders at Rogue HQ. It's up to you. We got ooh, nice. Got a little ice bomb here.
So, remind me, because I think it's been a while since I've seen you play Dead Cells on a stream. When was how far have you gotten?
I've gotten to the hand, but have not yet figured out all the different ways of trying to beat said hand.
Okay.
So yeah.
Which of the runes do you have?
Oh.
That's another important consideration, because one of the big things about Dead Cells, and one of the things that I really enjoy about it, is that although it's touted as a Roguevania, sort of a mix of roguelite and Metroidvania, it takes a lot more of its design cues from Castlevania than from, say, Metroidvania. But there is still a nice sort of branching path style to it. Where as you gain these runes, which act as sort of keys to gates in a way, at a certain point, the number of areas that you can go to opens up a ton.
What?
So I was curious.
Yeah, let's see. I have the ones where you can tickle the vines. I have that one.
Yep, good old vine rune.
I have the clapping mechanic, which is always fun.
Teleportation rune, that's a good one.
Let's see, what other ones are there?
So the one following that is the Ram rune. You are actually, on the stream, you are right at the spot where that would be the case, sort of that yellow triangle symbol on the ground there.
I've been able to... Oh, let's see, I'll go back. I missed it completely. Then, there is one of them there's one of them that I can do. I forget to look for it.
You are passing by it. It's sort of that thin...
Where is it again?
Thin part. From the teleporter to the area just to the right of that, on top of the first ledge there.
Oh, right there it is. Nope, I don't have it yet. Yeah, it still turns red. That's right.
All right, well, that would probably be a good goal on stream to go for.
Yeah, we can go for that.
Through the Promenade of the Condemned is the path you'll need to go for.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we got here.
That's the third rune that you will unlock. The fourth rune is a little bit later. That is the Spider rune, which the moment that you get that rune, movement opens up a ton.
Oh yeah. It is kind of fun with getting the different runes, because you'll play through it once and you think, okay, I've done, you know, as much as I can do, but then you play through it again and all of a sudden, you know, you've got different pathways to go, and you know, it's yeah. So I've not been playing speedily at all, or with any type of you know, direct, I don't know what you'd call it, any specific goals in mind. There's these doors here, and there's the 2-minute goal and the 30-second door, not 30 kills door. If you actually look down in the bottom right-hand corner, and actually I just realized overlay, I'm going to make a quick adjustment while I talk about this, there's this, the kills, consecutive kills without getting hits. There are doors that open here, you know, kill 30 enemies without taking any damage, I'd be able to open this door. And this one, if I got to this area within 2 minutes, this would open up, and I took 4 minutes and 18 seconds just wandering around talking. But you get lots of nice extra cells, things of that nature that really help you to progress the game. And this is where, if you're looking for a strict roguelike, this is where, with the collector and these rooms kind of between the areas, where you're going to be like, oh, you're actually unlocking things. But this is more like, you think about Rogue Legacy. You think about, I'm trying to think other games where you have got this like unlock progression.
Enter the Gungeon is one that comes immediately to mind, where as you unlock the different guns and abilities, they'll pop up in the following runs that you do. And it's very similar here, where as you gain, there are some general upgrades, which yes, those do carry over through multiple runs, but you also have various different weapons that you can pick up from blueprints that will give you extra tools of the trade, so to speak.
And so all of them are different things, like different mutations or things that you can unlock as you get to certain areas that are fun. Let's see here. Different crossbows and arrows. I don't really do much with those. Ice shards. Interesting. Forget what I was unlocking. I think it was unlocking gold reserves. Why not? Let's just, dump them all into gold reserves. Sounds good to me. Let's pick up a mutation. I'm going for a brutality mutation. Actually, these are the forge. Let's see your mutations. What do I want to do?
Trying to remember which update they added the forge to.
That was a relatively recent one, because all of a sudden that showed up in the middle of me playing, when the first time I played it, it had not played it. So it's been the last, well, it would have been, I don't know, the last 5 months? I'm trying to remember how long I've had the game. I bought the game right before it came out in a full release.
So that was the Foundry update, which is actually even before I started playing, version 0.5.
Okay.
That was where they ended up adding in that mechanic to allow you to upgrade your weapons between different runs. The Minor Forge here, however, might have been a little bit later on. Let me take a look through the patch notes and see if I can find it.
Yeah. So...
that was with the Back to the Roots / Baguette update.
Okay. It's also possible that I hadn't unlocked it and all of a sudden I did, which is always happening as well. Because you do unlock things as you go along, like any good game, which is nice.
The way that the Minor Forge works is that if it's your first playthrough, you will unlock it after you've beaten the Concierge for the first time. And then he will pop up on every consecutive run between those areas to let you reforge equipment, gets you extra affixes, lets you upgrade it to a slightly more powerful version.
So every area obviously a little bit different, but I don't like these teleporting guys until I figured out parry. Then they're not so bad. These guys were the bane of my existence for the longest time. Their ability to come in and, I don't know, just that they follow you around was just stupidly annoying. A hard way of trying to, oh, and here we go. Good old puzzle rooms. Everyone loves these. Or not puzzle rooms, but, ouch.
Traps.
Yeah, traps. That's what I'm thinking of. Can't think of the word of the thing I'm looking for. Got him. Hooray!
Yeah, there are... One of the things that you'll notice, for help with anyone that's watching the stream, you'll notice in the bottom left corner his different weapons and such, and each of them has sort of a color cue to them. And those colors match with the skills that you'll see the numbers even further down to the lower left corner there. So his main hand weapon that he is using with his X button is the electric whip. That scales with both brutality and with tactics. which are the red and purple skills respectively. So one of the big things with Dead Cells is that you can kind of spec your character as you're playing through the game by collecting the different stat scrolls that you'll find scattered throughout the levels. And those will give you more power for those particular scaled weapons. So as he increases in brutality with the red skill there, his grenades will become more powerful, his electrical whip will become more powerful, whereas as he upgrades survival, which is the green one, his shield will become more powerful.
And I've been going after a brutality build this time. I think it's safe to say, and I've discovered this, that, you know, of course there's spikes. You can look around, and I forget to look.
Looking around, that's with the right stick.
Right. Which I believe you showed me that. I had no idea that was a thing, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, look, I can look around. But that's... Going after a single... type of a build versus kind of being a generalist is just like in most games, as you'd expect. It's kind of more of the way to go. You can certainly, you know, do your own thing to build up and equalize as much as you want, but you're going to get more bang for your buck by kind of going all in on one versus the other.
Mm-hmm.
Brutality is sort of my... Ouch! There we go. Ow! Doing a double parry when you got two enemies you're fighting, like trying to focus on both of them at the same time. Ouch. Ouch. And ouch. Okay, we're gonna heal up here because...
It's hilarious to hear the ouches before I actually see what causes the ouches.
Yeah, we gotta find a way to get it where you can actually... I wonder if you watched through Steam itself. You might be able to actually see it live.
There's still going to be some latency there.
That's
just
true.
The way the internet works.
Oh,
but
come
no
on.
worries there.
Internet? What?
Stream delay. That's a common thing.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes.
It's very true. It's very true. Thought about setting it up in a way where you were actually like watching via like a Discord call, sharing screen and everything. But I'm like, like we need more things slowing down the stream and the increased latency and everything.
It'll be fine. I will be right back one moment.
No worries. Woohoo! So there's all these little secrets around you can find as well, and can't open from that side. I found one. I'm very bad at looking for them is the problem. Very, very bad at looking for them. I need a key to do that. All right. And we get an upgrade here. Awesome. More brutality looks like. Great.
Yeah, one of the big things with Dead Cells is with those different stats. That actually had quite a bit of changes over time, but it's really interesting to see how it is now, where you kind of have those three different play styles, which you had said that you seem to be defaulting to the brutality builds. I tend to default more to survival, personally. Sort of the tankier style where more health, slower weapons, but they hit harder.
Yep. And I've done some survivals, and I do have to say I tend to last longer, which maybe is more speaking to my ability than anything else. I don't know.
The first time that I ended up, I think it was either the first time I beat the Hand of the King or shortly before, or one of the times that I was really successful against it was one of the survival scaling weapons, which was a shovel.
That's just amazing. I love it. I love the shovel being the weapon of choice.
The main reason is that although it'll be a while before you'll see the shovel pop up for you, the thing that I love about the shovel is that these bombs that you see, these bombardiers or grenadiers, I can never keep them too straight. The ones that they fire out, shovel just flings them right back at them, which is really handy against the Hand of the King, who does something very similar.
Ah! Oh my goodness. The trap room. I actually made it through that. That's what's amazing. Ouch. Wrong button. Ouch. Wrong button. Having to heal up again.
But one of the other things, but then tactics is one that I struggle with tactics. Tactics tends to be the squishier, sort of squishy wizard style where you have a lot less health, but you are able to be a lot more flexible with the equipment that you have.
Early on, I played a lot with the bows. Have you played much in the bow style of the game? With
I
ice bow?
struggle with the bows. I don't know why. I need to give it a little bit more of a try. But I tend to be sword and board when it comes to my play style.
I made it fairly successfully once using the bow, and I forget what my weapon was. It was something along the lines of sort of like the electric whip that I had used before. Yeah, I got a tip there. I need to crash the doors more to open up them. To stun the enemies. Yeah, it's I forget about that. I really do, but it is a good tactic. Kind of give them that little stun. Oh boy, ouch. Why can't I? Oh, can't hit the little flying dude. That's a good point though.
Flying dude is really easily dispatched with the grenades.
Oh, I forget. See, I forget the things I forget about that I've got. Those. Yeah. Forget about those. And then I've also got these going on. I need to be better about utilizing my secondary weapons. It's just not something that I don't know why. Ouch.
One of the big things, one of the biggest parts for Dead Cells, although with where you are at the game, it's not always as common, is with weapon synergies. You'll notice that the blood sword you've got with your main hand weapon there is causing stuff to bleed as you attack it.
Mm-hmm.
There are some weapons that have an affix to them that means that you get extra damage on bleeding targets. So it's really helpful to, you know, get a weapon or a secondary item that does bleeding, and then another thing that you can follow up with it that does extra damage to stuff that bleeds. So the higher leveled equipment gives you more affixes, which usually means more synergies, which means more power and more strength, and it sort of snowballs by the time you get to about the midway part of a run.
Yeah. I think one of the best runs that I ever did was something along the lines of... that was risky. Shouldn't have done that, but I did it anyways. Along the lines of a... I had a frost and then something that... like a frost... like a spell of some sort. I forget what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
But
Frost
then...
Blast, I believe.
Yeah, Frost Blast. And then I had a weapon that did really well against said Frost Blast. Which was really fun. I think it was the hammer that had that synergy on it.
The hammer, the Nutcracker, is so much better now than it was in early access. Like, it's... How was the hammer originally? Because a lot of things... The game still is, although it is an official release now since it's past the 1.0 update, they are still making balance adjustments and things like that. But the Nutcracker at one point was sort of almost a joke weapon, it seemed. Where it was not a really good weapon. It was previously it used to just stun enemies that had more than 75% health. Which enemies don't stay above 75% health very long.
They don't, that's true. Yeah, so if you have a slow weapon like that, you need something that's going to be... It needs to do more damage than just, that.
Yeah, but now it does critical hits if the target is stunned, frozen, or immobilized, which makes it so much more flexible and just it's actually a really good weapon now. Once again, I will be right back.
No worries. Parried him to death. There we go. This is a fun area. This is where parries really come in, because you've got some much more highly powered enemies down here, where I need to make sure I'm not necessarily that they're higher powered, but it's that they can combo and do more damage a lot easier. All right, we got a boss coming up here in Elite. Ouch. That was not good. I parried that. Whatever. Okay. So we got something out of it, at least. Like Frost Blast and Assassin's Dagger. That is a good one. That's a good one. That's a super fast for sure. Let's see. I got a golden amulet here. Better than having nothing. Enemies that hit you freeze. Downward smash attacks burn the ground. There we go. That'll work. Okay, another trap room. Oh, another... Interesting, another... This guy here. Oh, no way. Nope. Oh. Nope.
Yeah, this is one where the parry timing is...
Yep. And I keep missing the parries, yep. There we go.
Almost got it.
I got him. I got him. Unknown artifact. Sweet.
And there is your ram rune.
Ram rune. Now I can hit all the little runes that are in the bottom doing the fun... Well, I can't talk today. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, it's been fun. Just realized that I've got my mouse sitting on the screen over here. It's probably annoying the heck out of everybody. Let me move that off the screen. No one said anything. And now I lost my mouse completely. There we go. I'm glad I helped you learn something today, Jess. That's. And did I seriously just die?
Spikes will get you. Spikes will get you.
I was like, how do I get out of this room? Oh my gosh, that's really, really funny.
The good news is that now we could go for the next rune.
That is pretty funny. Okay, I got a rune and then died immediately. Actually, I planned it that way. Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, well, that's how it goes, I guess.
That's that indeed. So next rune is going to be going through the sewers. So.
Oh, I like the sewers. Those are fun. Sewers are kind of. All right, what have we got here? We've got Impaler. I like the Impaler. And the Assault Shield. Oh, very cool.
Okay. So a lot of the people here for Rogue HQ is big into speedrunning. Assault Shield is your speedrunning shield.
Right. I've actually used it before the first time I was trying one. Yeah, it's because you have this motion going on. Just it's fast. You take things out quickly.
You can go even faster if you use the shield and roll at the same time.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh my goodness, yeah. What the heck?
Yeah, like that is why it's the speedrunner shield.
Wow. That shouldn't be allowed.
And yet, that's how it goes.
And the Impaler with just that ranged attack is just like, are you kidding me? It's...
Like, this is, the combination of these two weapons is a really good combination because you just bash something up against the wall and then you get that critical when you're using the Impaler against the enemy on the wall.
Mm-hmm. So let's go survival this time. Why not? Wow. That is quite the combo right there. Let's wait. We'll come up here. No, I guess we'll come up here. I keep hitting the wrong button for the... Oh my goodness. Gotta be kidding me. I gotta look for the sewers. We'll make sure we get the extra room, because that's... Where are you? Okay, I can go up here.
So if anybody either in chat or you as well, Skip, have any questions for me, I'm not an expert in Dead Cells, but I've played enough that I hopefully would have information about different stuff.
You're not an expert in Dead Cells, but you play one on TV, so it works for me.
Oh, I'm rusty as I am really
Ouch.
rusty though.
Oh, I was doing so well with getting the hits. Trying to get that 30 room. Oh, and I hit again. I hate the shield guy. Come on, dude. There we go. Oh. Dude.
Yeah, no. This past week was the first time I had played Dead Cells in a while, simply just because I had gotten to a point in the game where I had everything unlocked, so I needed to didn't YOLO strats. There is a mutation. There is a mutation that literally is a YOLO mutation.
That's true. I like that mutation. It's fun.
Let me.
That's the one where I believe it's where you can no longer heal from food, but it gives you about like 30% or so more max HP, if I remember correctly.
No, different one. When you go to the mutations with Gian at the end here, you can scroll to the very bottom and we'll show the chat with that.
So let's see. I don't want to grab the Cudgel 4 stuns blocked enemies, stuns last longer if a parry is successful. And biters crawl from the dead and causes enemies to bleed when you parry. Oh, that's a really good shield. I mean, I don't get the dashing. I don't want to lose that synergy. We'll grab Crusher. Why not? Or the Amulet? The damage you take is inflicted on the enemy. That could be... Yeah, I already have a Crusher. Let's not... don't need 2 Crushers. Clap. I really wish I could get back to any entrance of any room by just clapping. Let's see if I got YOLO down here. No, it's in the it's in the mutations. I'll show it to you here. Let's go to plus quality. All right, there we go. Victims burn when they die. And critical hit. Okay, victims against the wall. We'll leave. You know what? No, let's upgrade that one too. Why not? More damage when you're at max HP. That's terrible modifier. More damage to a stun.
It's not actually too bad if you have max HP.
The chances of me being at max HP a lot, that just doesn't happen. So here's the YOLO. It's the Yedgar Oris Lee Ox, or YOLO. Saves you one time if you die prematurely. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
It's completely gibberish. It doesn't actually mean anything.
Except YOLO. Yeah. YOLO. It's actually...
Indeed. That's the only thing that it actually has anything to do with.
Yeah, alright, survival. Let's see here. It doesn't kill me. Recover XP after parrying a melee attack. We can do that. Blind Faith. Reducing the cooldown with successful parry. I mean, that would be stringing them together. I do like the Necromancy. That is a fun one to have, basically, especially survival strats.
Necromancy is so much better now than what it was in early access.
I would agree with that. I took Necromancy the first time I played through the game, and I'm like, this is completely pointless. This is not healing me at all. They have it now where it actually scales with your abilities now, right?
Yeah, the way that it used to be done is that it was a flat increase of a few HP points every single time you ended up killing an enemy. So, like, even if you had, like, a stupidly high amount of survival skills, you would only be healing, like, maybe 5 or 6 HP per time, which, by that point, you have so much HP that it doesn't do anything anymore for you. But now that it's a percentage base off of the max HP, it's so much better. What build would you recommend for the second run? That's a question from Norges in the chat. That is a very good question. Are you talking about the boss cell? The first boss cell after you beat the Hand of the King there, Norges? Okay, so what I would recommend with the higher cell difficulties. So for those of you that aren't aware, the final boss for the game is the Hand of the King. And once you beat the Hand of the King, you end up getting a boss cell, which is kind of a new game plus. It gives you slightly harder enemies. The game is made slightly more difficult. So one of the best things for me, the way that I went through it when I first played through the game, is that I ended up getting unlocking a lot of the blueprints first before I jumped into the 1-cell difficulty. Because although there are some things that are locked away behind the higher difficulties, such as alternate routes through the different areas or otherwise, you can get almost every single blueprint in the game before you even start going on to the higher cell difficulties. I would also recommend that you put cells into the forge as well, giving you higher stats for your equipment, meaning more affixes. Worm. The ugly worm jumping off the cliff is always
I love
always
I love
treat.
pushing the worm off the cliff. That's just my favorite thing.
It's fun when the worm jumps off the cliff on its own
Oh,
volition.
well, that's true, yeah.
But getting the extra equipment is also very useful, or getting the higher quality equipment from putting cells into the forge is also a fantastic way to just... The higher quality equipment means that you're able to do more damage, meaning that you're not going to be as starved for damage in the later levels. As far as like recommended builds, part of it depends on what you feel the most comfortable with. For me, survival has always been my go-to for builds. Like my ideal build back when it was still early access was a shovel, a good shield, as well as I forget what different things you might be able to find from that are survival scaling skills, like wolf trap or like powerful grenade. And I guess there's also the sort of cliche practice. I mean, yes, I mean Dead Cells kind of, or not just Dead Cells, but like Dark Souls has the get good sort of thing. Practice makes perfect. Getting the parry timings helps a lot.
Yeah, when I started finally actually using the parry strats, it increases your ability to get through and survive a lot.
The parrying, almost especially on the higher cell difficulties, and almost more so now with the 1.2 update, shields are almost a necessity on the higher cell difficulties now.
And I'm enjoying the game a lot more now that I learned kind of how to parry and to look for timings and stuff. Ooh. Sometimes I almost forget about those exploding eggs from the worms. Whoa, I poisoned myself. That's super nice.
And that also loses your kill streak.
Yeah, well, what you gonna do? I wasn't gonna get to 60, let's be honest. That wasn't gonna happen. I can get to 30 with the right combo on, I forget I can do this. There we go. It's roll, shield. I did it right the first time.
I believe it's shield then roll.
Shield then roll.
That gives you...
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because doing it the other way, you just sort of stop in place.
Yep. Shield roll is a giant dash forward.
Double crossbow-matic. So I'm not that much of a tactics guy. I struggle with tactics because of the lower health and I don't know, I kind of prefer being up close and personal, and my dodging game is not that great either. That said, turrets are pretty darn handy. What's interesting is that with the sort of an interesting trivia fact about the game as it was being created in early access was that some of the early versions of Dead Cells, before they even publicized it and put it out for early access, was that it was originally going to be a tower defense. I don't want to know what the slime trail is from.
Right.
But it's really interesting to see some of those remaining bits and pieces with the turrets that kind of shows where what the game once was.
I do love the little bits of lore that are, you know, obviously completely optional to the game, but it's got a good amount of humor built into it.
Our protagonist here is waxing poetic here, and I've actually not seen this lore room yet. It just keeps going.
Yeah, okay, boring.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Now, where have I gone? Have we not gone up? Okay. That took so long, I forgot which direction I was going here.
But yeah, everyone kind of tends to fall into a particular tactic or strategy when they play the game. Like, for me, I tend to fall back to survival. But one person that I do watch, when he was playing it, he tended to fall back to having 2 shields, but since at the time they gave damage reduction, as well as 2 tactics scaling turrets, which actually helped him a lot. That was what he needed to do in order to get to the higher cell difficulties. I'm curious because he wants to play the game again now that there's new content, I'm curious to see what he's going to fall back to now that the shields don't give you damage reduction anymore. So this is what I was talking about with the synergies. The sinew slicer that you just picked up there causes enemies to bleed when it hits the targets, but then your crusher also does extra damage to bleeding targets.
That's why I picked the way that I picked. Hello, let me in the door.
And those synergies get a lot more ridiculous as you get more powerful equipment, and also as you get to the higher cell difficulties, since those also, you get better equipment on the higher cell difficulties in order to compensate for the higher difficulty.
So the first time, you kind of mentioned that, back to the double crossbow-matic, the first time I played through, the first time I should say that I beat the concierge. It's the first boss that we hopefully will see here shortly, if I can get good.
We actually won't be seeing him with the path we're taking.
Oh, that's
because
true.
we want to get the next rune. We're going to be going to see the Conjuvictus, Pink Eye.
That's true. But the first time I was playing, well, we'll play through again. We'll go through the concierge, kind of the first boss that you'll face when you're playing the game. The first time I beat the concierge was with a combination of just basically the double crossbow, matic, and wolf traps, where I was able to lock him in place, and then just keep getting those crossbows out and just staying out of range of him. It was the longest battle ever, but I'm like, hey, I'm going to survive this thing by locking him down so he can't move, and just letting the crossbows hit him. So, ramparts, is that the way I want to go right now to get to the next? Or did I miss something else?
You actually want to head to a location called the Ancient Sewers. So we're not done with the sewers just yet.
All right. I probably got to use the special rune that I got that I keep forgetting to look for.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's always the problem, isn't it? I never tend to look for those. I accidentally see them every now and then, and I'm like, oh. So let's see here. What we've gone... Oh, there's a chest down there I haven't even gone to. How about that? Missing the chest completely. Let's go there first. Well, if I could double jump, please. There we go. Open the chest. Ice grenade to the crusher. Now, we'll just recycle that. So the question would be, on the higher difficulties, why do you prefer shields to freezing weapons?
So freezing weapons are good. That sort of crowd control is handy. But being able to parrying is also just as effective to prevent prevent that damage. And that's the other fun thing about Dead Cells is that there's no one way is how you beat the game. I mean, there's the 3 different skills, but even within those skills, there's the different weapons synergize in different ways and have different
Oh no.
skills. The reason that I say that freezing might be better, or sorry, shields might be better than freezing on, say, like 4-cell difficulty when you get to the more ridiculous enemies, it's mainly just because some of those enemies, you can't get to them fast enough to freeze them before they deal damage to you, and the parrying is a little bit more effective in that sense. And it's just playstyle. For me, parrying works better. It's something that I definitely need to improve on, though. I definitely need to give things like the Frost Blast and the Ice Bow more practice.
So this will be my first passage through the ancient sewers. Obviously, as I just unlocked that rune a little bit earlier. So you're seeing it with me for the first time here. What do I want to... What have I got here? My Impaler has got more damage to a stunned target. I've got burning and bleeding going on. So let's see if we can't get something. Launches a grenade with the Impaler. Why not? Let's launch a grenade with our Impaler. Millstone as well. Let's see. What else do I want to grab from my... more HP. Recover HP after parrying a melee attack. Yeah, let's do that. That's a good one. Oh, look, pile of corpses. I like this lore. Funny, they look a little like... me. Oh. I like that. And down we go. All right, ancient sewers. What have you got in store for me? What weapon? What ancient evils will be befalling me here?
Mostly mushrooms.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, who needs an Italian plumber? Reach the ancient sewers for the first time. Now that's funny. Who needs an ancient? I get it. Oh, and we start off with a trap room. That's just...
That tends to be how the ancient sewers goes. It's interesting to see how the ancient sewers has changed over time, where it used to be just almost more of an endurance test with how large it was.
What? Oh, traps. More traps.
Well, those particular traps are coming from the mushroom.
Oh, really? Let's take care of him quickly then. So that's what mushrooms do, huh? They make floor traps happen. I'm like, I did not see those traps before. Oh, I gotta go up over here. Hey, hey! Free upgrade. We'll take it. More survival.
So your damage with your Impaler might start to pale in comparison to the damage that you're getting with the other survival stats that you've got.
That's very true. That's very true. Because it is every time I'm doing that upgrade, it is upgrading my, whatever you call it, for me.
The Crusher and
the Crusher.
Shield.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, I feel like that definitely might be the better way to go. Quick. Power on my phone here. Yeah, that's very true. That's something I might want to keep the store locked at all costs. If the rats get out, they will spread the malaise. Rats are always a prime suspect in times of illness. I know. I kind of like rats. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a big rat.
Okay. Okay. A little bit of foreshadowing there. Am I going...
So it might be a good idea to start looking for probably a survival scaling weapon then.
That's very
to
true.
replace your Impaler there.
That's a good point. Oh boy. Mushroom. Ouch. Oh my goodness. Mushrooms, huh? Yeah, I definitely use the rune. Well, what do we have here?
Ah, these. So these are challenge rifts.
Shall we go die in one? Shall we?
I don't think you'll die on it, but I've got confidence in you.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, God. You stumbled through a rift, eh? Thumbs up. Where'd you go? Oh, you're behind me. But you'd like to take these little beauties with you now, wouldn't you? Yeah, double thumbs up. Where'd you? Oh, you're behind me now again. If you decide to take them, getting out won't mean not getting in. Good luck. Okay. Clearly he's Papyrus with that laugh.
These are so much easier now than they once were.
What do we got here? Another amulet. This is invisible after 5 seconds. Invisible after...
That is such a good necklace.
So recycle it is what you're telling me.
No. No, the invisibility necklace is... It's a little cheaty. But it's the best kind of cheaty.
I like
Sneak.
Okay, that's not where I'm supposed to go. Okay. Okay, these are spikes down here. Oh, just go. I see.
The invisibility necklace lets you just sneak your way through areas without enemies even noticing you, and it's so... It's...
Did I just go all the way? Oh my gosh.
What?
I could have skipped that whole area.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Wow.
I noticed it. I noticed it here and went back. That's amazing. That is 100% amazing.
I didn't know that those were a thing. I'm gonna have to keep a close eye for those. But no, these challenge rifts used to be so much more difficult in early access. Now they are just get to the end.
Go. Oh my gosh. Okay, apparently the floor goes away. Drink the thing.
Nowadays it's just get to the end without taking too much damage, but it used to be to the point, like in the early days in the early access, it used to be that you had to kill a certain number of enemies without taking any damage, with a time limit, and there were still traps.
Oh my.
Yeah, I was never able to accomplish that, and there's a reason why they swapped that out for what it is now.
Assault Shield 3 looks like it's a little bit better. Not a lot better. Just barely better. Fine. Can't sell my starting weapon. I really, like you said, I need a survival synergy weapon. So what would be in your mind if you had to... You've already mentioned the shovel. What would be some of your other favorite synergies? Oh my.
Well, one of the runs that I've had pretty good success with lately is actually with the new and improved Nutcracker combined with a cudgel. Since those synergize together pretty well. You get the stun from the cudgel, but then you also get the extra, so you end up getting the critical damage with the Nutcracker. And that's actually a weapon that you might be able to find in here if you do a little bit of digging around. Shovel, you're not going to be able to see that for a while yet because of how that unlocks.
I see.
Each of the different weapons and blueprints are in different areas. So the shovel, you find that in the graveyard, and it's a rare drop from some of the enemies there.
What? I disagree with you there. Quick boat. Nope, not gonna... I don't want to die, though. Let's recycle it. I forgot about... I used to always forget about recycling. I would just be leaving weapons and eventually going, wait a minute, I could have gotten money for all of those things. Well, what you gonna do?
What are some other synergies? There is also a daily mode, and I ended up getting a sneak peek at a weapon that I haven't had unlocked yet, called the Seismic Strike, which... That's a fun weapon. where it does a shockwave in front of you, dealing damage to enemies that way.
Well, that sounds interesting. That sounds like my kind of weapon. I'll take that.
That one you don't get until you start getting into the higher difficulties.
What you gonna? Oh shoot! Keep forgetting those floors that fall away. The fall away floors, not my favorite things.
What are some other synergies? Let me take a dig and see what weapons did I use to beat resell mode for the first time.
Don't. Oh, stupid spikes. Stupid mushrooms. Yeah, I'm running out of overhead on these weapons, being able to do much good damage.
Don't forget that you do also have your secondaries as well.
Yeah, I just remembered that right before you told me. I never remember them.
One other weapon that I really enjoyed was the War Spear, which is another survival scaling weapon, but that lets you deal extra damage if you are attacking multiple enemies at the same time. Which on the higher cell difficulties, when there's more enemies around, means you get those criticals more often. I'm trying to think of what else I've...
Ouch. Didn't think it actually hit me there. Problem is that shield just... I mean, I can push guys off cliffs pretty effectively. But other than that...
I mean, hey, gravity's your friend.
It absolutely is. Whoa, get it out of the way. I got a key. Oh, old service key. That's something new. Where are we going now? Going still down, down, down. All right. All right, looks like still no good. Still no good weapons for me to...
The good thing is that with that key you've gotten, that should give you something hopefully useful at the end of the level.
The key you got will do something for you. That's probably the best advice I've received in video gaming. You picked up an item. It'll help you in some way.
You might be able to... I did see in the map screen that there might be a broadsword off to the right there.
Oh.
So it might do.
Oh yeah, I see it. If I can, actually, I might be able to get that by going back to the right.
Yeah.
Let's go see if we can find it. That's a good call. Let's go over here. That would be down this way. Oh, I see. Yep, gotta look for this. Gotta look for those things I'm not used to looking for. Oh, don't do the thing that you. Don't. Of course you did that.
Trying to think of other synergies. Like, some of the common ones are damage over time builds, so weapons that capitalize on a lot of synergies. Stuff like poison, or... You're still using the starter weapon there. That's why we were so struggling with...
Oh yeah. I liked how far it got me, but it wasn't gonna last very much longer. How many types of synergies are there? I mean...
There is poison, bleeding, fire,
stun,
freezing... I'm trying to think if there's any others that I'm missing there. There is oil as well, but that tends to really only do stuff with fire. Though there is one weapon that does do extra damage if the target is oiled.
And the most that I've ever really used, I should say, the one that I've used the most is probably a better way of stating that. is that there's the freeze. Oh, a curse chest. I don't think I want to use the curse chests. Curse chests are fun in an area that you know what you're doing.
It's risk and reward.
Absolutely. You get all the rewards, but you have 1 health for, what is it, 8 or 9? 10? I forget how many it is. Something like that. So if you have 1 health, like 1 hit will kill you.
Right. So let's see, so there are a lot of different affixes that you can end up getting in different weapons that kind of pair with different skills. Some of them are a piercing, which those are mostly with bows that let you pierce multiple enemies. Extra ammo for those bows. Flammable oil, poison, fire, freezing.
Oh my gosh, I just jumped into spikes. I got an achievement, a downward smash right into some deadly spikes.
Well, we've all been there before.
Yeah, I can't believe I have not done that before. That's the thing. The fact that
there is also a synergy that causes stuff to, worms to pop out of enemies as you kill them.
I like that one. That one's fun. So here's a completely unnecessary... Look, I found a shortcut. A completely unnecessary shortcut that I could easily just go over the top. Procedural generation of levels. Can't be a winner every time. But there is a shortcut here that I want to see. Secret zone.
That said, you do start to see some similarities between stuff over time. Ooh, you got yourself the alchemic carbine blueprint. Nice.
Sweet. And
now there's a synergy for you. Poison. Also, that weapon has changed its name so many times over the years. You want to go up to the right. It was at one point the alchemic pistol. Now it's the alchemic carbine. Alchemic rifle.
Bloodthirsty shield. There we go. Oh, got more things over there.
That's another good blueprint.
Finding all the good blueprints here.
Then again, in my opinion, everything's good. You just have to find a good use for it.
Yeah, you can make everything work, right?
But yeah, it's actually interesting. You'll start to see some similarities with some of the equipment, some of the different areas that you go through over time, where everything's sort of built into these chunklets, is I think what the technical name for it is. The folks over at Motion Twin have done a couple of articles on Gamasutra, for example, that have shown some interesting cool stuff about how their generation works, how they do all of the art for the game, because they're a small team. There's only about, maybe at most a dozen people that have made this game.
This is what I'm unlocking. I'm unlocking the ability to unlock more cells.
More cells, gold.
I'm going to go with more cells, I think. Because nothing else looks like it's really the right synergy, so...
There is a chest to your bottom left as well, don't forget that.
Thank you. Yeah. Regular chests. I like those. And infinity grenade. No, thanks. Take the gold.
The infantry grenade is good, but if you're not building for brutality...
Yep. I can go up further this way. Oh, I should have kept going up. Should have kept going up. Here we go. Use it. Away we go. The Insufferable Crypt. Also, I do not believe an area I've been.
Yep, this is where we get to say hello to Pink Eye. Conjuvictus, the Watcher.
Oh, I didn't get 60. Come on. Let me in. Look at all these. Bloodthirsty Shield. Blocking inflicts bleeding. That's actually really... I like that a lot. I can unlock that fully right now.
Oh yeah, you've got enough cells for it. Nice.
What else did I pick up here?
You also grabbed the Alchemic Carbine, which is a nice one.
Where was that? Oh, it's here. Poisonous victims. Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm also working on the ice crossbow. That was when I was doing more tactic style builds. Let's go with the Bloodthirsty Shield. Let's get a different style of shield going on.
I have not actually really tried the ice crossbow. That's one I need to give another try.
Got 18 cells left. I think I'm going to get my gold reserves up a little bit better. You know, just because you can. Oh, did I just... I didn't mean to hold. I just recycled the bloodthirsty shield.
Well, no worries.
Ah, well.
There's more shields. And usually the ones that the collector gives you aren't necessarily great.
Not good for the individual run that you're on. Let's upgrade this one to plus. Let's see. Okay, damage to a burning target, which is great because this salt shield we could bring up as well if we wanted to. Let's bring it up to a plus. Absorbs 90% projectile damage when held up.
That'll be handy in this fight.
It'll work. Alright. Let's see here. One more mutation we can pick. Blind Faith. I don't... I know I'm not going any other style of build, but let's see. General mutations. Dead Inside. I know I'm going to get food heals, but I get a lot more HP. We're going to go with getting a lot more HP.
Yeah, as a note, the infection counter doesn't really apply until the higher cell difficulties.
I didn't like that door anyways. I wanted to break it. Alright, even the rats avoid this place. Reach the insufferable crypt for the first time. I have a feeling it's a boss fight right out of the gate. Is that what I'm seeing here?
That is a boss.
Alright.
Used to be the final boss when it was still early access.
Oh boy.
And now he's just an alternate to the... Well, I guess it's a she. She's now just an alternate for if you don't want to go against the concierge.
Okay. Let's see, what are you doing? Okay, don't want that.
You can parry that attack when she's dashing across the...
Okay. Good to know.
And the interphase tentacles.
Ouch.
Yeah, these guys are fun. You can get parry timings for these, but with the assault shield, that's a little bit trickier.
Because yeah, you're moving then, I suppose.
Right. The ones that dash across the screen are a lot easier to... Oh, you're invisible, so you can't... Okay. They're not attacking because you're invisible.
Why are they not... Oh.
Well, that's one way to do it.
I'm like, why in the world?
Might want to use your secondaries.
Oh yeah, forget about those.
Invisibility, that's the one point where invisibility isn't a positive. That is actually really surprising.
That's funny. Oh. Ow. Jerk.
Thankfully on the lower cell difficulties, they don't hit too hard.
No. It's just a matter of figuring out what that guy got to do to get these guys to not be stupid annoying. There we go. One more to go. Okay, and I rolled right into it. That's nice to know. Come here, buddy. Okay, now you're back up again. Oh, I tried to parry that. Parried that at least. Oh no.
Yeah, you'll notice Jaeged as you as he starts killing some of the tentacles in that interstitial phase. That the colors are an indication of how fast that they're going to move. So the lights, the aquamarine ones are the slowest. You kind of get the faster ones, and the blue with the blue, and you start getting into the red, and the purple ones, and they start going quite a bit faster.
Oh, they're actually hurting me when they're going across the screen. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
The ones that are going across the screen, you can
parry
those a lot easier.
Ah, like just dodge, roll through them accidentally. All right, so now they're faster. Oh, I see. And now they're going like that. Okay, sure, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
And as the speed increases, I don't think their damage increases, but it does make the phase go a little bit faster. And I was about to say, probably a good idea to use that flash charge.
Yeah.
And Jaeger's got a good point as well with the secondaries.
Ah. Yep. I'm always forgetting to do those.
There's a lot of things going on the screen.
And I'm not used to, like, okay, what's my actual strategy here for these guys? Oh, boy. Parried it. There we go. Parried it again. Okay, yeah, parrying is the way to go. Man, just can't hit him though.
Hey, you got a parry on the
Yeah, on the green stuff.
poison.
Okay,
just the bullet hell
yeah,
section.
just run into everything. Sure, why not? Ouch. No, more tentacles? Ugh.
Hey, on the bright side, it's the last tentacle phase.
Come at me, guys. There we go.
You're doing pretty good, honestly, for the first time that you've seen the boss.
Ouch. Ow. Kind of walked right into the... Oh, didn't want to do that. Let's drink a pot here. Oh, I missed him. Missed him again. Parry, got another one. I think the parry when they're rushing towards me is sort of the easier one to kill. Otherwise, it's sort of like...
Yeah, it is possible to parry them as they're coming up from underground, but it is a difficult parry timing.
Yeah.
I've not been able to really pull it off.
Ouch. Ouch. Oh, come on. You give me no warning there. Ow. I'm out of pots. This might not work so well. I'm invisible. I'm like, why are they not coming up?
Yeah, Jaeger's got the right idea there. You've got the Crusher and the...
Yep, and I'm forgetting about him. Keep forgetting him. Keep forgetting about him. Oh, boy. I was looking the wrong way when I got a parry. And down I go.
Aww.
Yeah. Wasn't going to happen today. Wasn't going to happen. Well, not that run. But I'm kind of getting the idea around him. But yeah. Shall we try a tactics build this time? May as well. Let's see what we can do with tactics. See how squishy I can become. It is fun seeing, when you're playing the game for, on your own file, because all these obviously end up completely empty when you're first starting along, and then seeing them fill up as you play the game, as you unlock things, that's a lot of fun. Multiple knocks, bow, and shield. We could do that. Of course, we got the wrenching whip. Let's do bow and shield. Why not? It's kind of an interesting build. Definitely your, remind me of the first time I played Baldur's Gate, sort of just, you know, shield up, etc., and then knock him with the bow from far away. It's a powerful beginning bow, too. How about let's get a parry right? Oh my goodness. I actually destroy the guy, how about?
Good tactical fast, whether each went down. So, the best way for that, well, each tentacle that you kill as part of the Conjuvictus fight actually is also damaging Conjuvictus herself. So, it's I guess that could work. It depends on how you want to go about it. Do you want to deal with a lot of slower tentacles, or do you want to kill them quickly so that you only have to deal with one fast tentacle? To be fair, a lot of the time you probably don't have a lot of choice in the matter. You probably just have to kill whichever ones pop up and hope for the best, especially with how fast-paced those bosses can go.
Ouch.
But yeah, I can definitely see perhaps that a bow and arrow build would be a little bit more effective against Conjuvictus, if only because you get a little bit more range.
Ooh, however, we do have Frost Blast. That might be my new friend.
Frost Blast is not bad at all. I think it has a limited ammo now. It didn't used to.
Yeah, and Frost Blast 1, I think, is my primary. It's such low... I mean, if I was going to replace the shield and just do, you know...
Yeah, Frost Blast is a secondary for this. It's really only useful for synergies and things like that.
Yep. Well, let's go for a frozen synergy. Why not? I said take. Okay, come on now. Because... Oh, I forgot the right buttons. That's what I meant to do. All right.
It is good crowd control.
Yes.
But you do need to be quite a bit better on your dodge game to be able to manage it well.
Agreed. And there's the Nutcracker 3. That's... If I was... Too bad I'm not going for brutality or survival here. Of course, the time I find...
That said, that affix scares me. Plus 100% damage taken. Nope.
Oh, that's very true. Oh, come on. Where's your sense of let's go, let's do this, you know?
Don't get me wrong. If you've got the build for it, it works out pretty well. But you'd have to have the right build for it.
Yeah.
And you have to be a lot more confident with your ability.
What? You're saying I'm not confident? It's okay if you're saying
I'm
it.
not.
If you're saying I'm not, you're right. Let's see here. Let's go to the promenade. Let's go here. What's your favorite boss design and why? Of the ones that I've seen, how did I not make it here in 2 minutes? 2 minutes 36? I'm bummed by that. I thought I made it here in time. Let's see.
It's a tough time, Door.
Yeah. I've gotten there plenty of times, and I'm just like, let's just go. Let's not even fight anything, just go through.
Favorite boss design. I think at this point you've seen all of the bosses. Well, okay, you've seen all of them except for 2. There's one that you can see when you beat the game for the first time. That got added in with the 1.2 update, which, since it's called the Rise of the Giants, I will give you a hint. That'll give you a hint as to what boss it is.
I love the what I just unlocked. That I have Frost Blast 1+, which has victims burn when they die. I'm not going to question the fact that I'm burning them with frost. I'm going to leave that to be what it is. All right, tactics mutations. Yep.
The other good one for this would probably be ammo, since that gives you the extra, that doubles the amount of ammo you've got. But the cooldown mutation is a very good one for this one. Since this tactics tends to build around the secondaries. Favorite boss design? That's a tricky one. Honestly, it probably wouldn't end up being Hand of the King for me.
And the second question to that is why?
Probably because it's the most interesting of the group, of the ones that I've seen. I have not fought against the giant yet, since on the save file that I restarted the save file with the new 1.2 update. I haven't gotten to the giant just yet, and the super secret final boss that I'm probably going to not see for a while yet. That said, I think Hand of the King... I like the Hand of the King mainly because, yeah, each boss is very unique. You have the Concierge, which is probably the simplest of the bosses, simply because he fights a lot like a zombie, in a sense, where there's a lot of different ways that you can defeat him, but usually the best tactic is just fight him like you would any other enemy. It's just he's just tankier. Conjuvictus is just this giant tentacle monster, which is crazy. The Timekeeper is a literal, like, acts like is a ninja in a sense. And then the Hand of the King just is sort of like a final exam in a way, where you just have to, by that point, you need to have a good build with good synergies. What about for you, Skip? I know that you haven't. I think
I have seen and I'd gotten through. Oh boy, most of the. I don't like the guys who are all being. They're gonna start chasing me, which is fine. Chase me away. Chase me over here. Oops. It helps if you push the right buttons. All right. I like the Timekeeper actually a little bit. I'm not sure why. I kind of enjoyed that fight. I don't know if that's just one that I could figure out the patterns easy enough. So I think that might be part of it, is just someone that I knew that I could actually figure out how to beat not too difficultly, you know. And yes, that's the correct way of saying it, in case you're curious. Not too difficultly. Alright, what do we got here? We got Wolf Trap. We could take let's take the Wolf Traps for sure. Each boss is very unique, yeah. I mean, well, they all have patterns and phases, and so it's from a... While, yes, they're different. One unlock that? What am I unlocking over? Oh, wow.
So... this is something that you won't be able to really get to just yet. It gets you the explosive crossbow blueprint, but you need to get the spider rune before you'll be able to get all of the keys required for that.
That's too bad. So if I'd not died, you're telling me I'd be okay on that last fight.
Maybe.
Maybe? Alright. Oh, there's an elite. Dude, see me. Why won't he see me?
I think this is the first elite you've seen in a while, actually.
We saw one in the first run I went through. Actually, we saw two of them in there. Oh boy. So the fact that everyone's being shielded too is annoying as heck. Alright, there we go. So now we're not shielded anymore. Ouch.
That said, the elites did get a bit of a buff in the 1.2, 1.1 and 1.2 updates, where they have special affixes too, like this giant electric circle of death thing.
Yeah, we're not happy with it. All right, come over here and fight me.
I'm trying to think of what different affixes, what different elite affixes you'd see. There's one where it's just a box that prevents you from running away from it.
I've played in that box. That's not a fun box.
There's
because as you can see, I like to run away. Running away is sort of my Sir Robin. You know, it's my Sir Robin move. I mean, everyone loves to run away.
It's effective.
Yeah, it is. Especially here where you've got the shields. I find it's very effective. You got shielded enemies. Just kite them towards you, out of the range of. Whoops, wrong button. That still worked. Out of the range of where they can be in their protective shields and deal with them on your own time. I love the slow down enemy, which is just we didn't actually create any more animations for the sprite. We just slow down how fast the animations actually trigger.
That's one of the other reasons I don't tend to like the frost weapons all too great, is because that slowdown kind of messes with the parry timings.
That's very true. It would.
But it does make it easier to dodge, so it's pros and cons on that.
Right. Normally for me when I'm doing
you...
frost, I'm using frost on the secondary weapon like this, so I don't have the shield anymore to worry about.
Right.
Whoops. Trying to parry.
What are some of the other elite affixes? There's one where it's sort of a damage field similar to the shockers that you see in the ossuary. There's just 2 elites instead of just 1.
I've had that one. That's annoying.
That one seems to be a lot more common for me, and it's not too bad. It's just 2 elites you have to fight.
Oh, is that all? Just 2 elites. No big deal. Traps. Oh boy. Hey, we get an upgrade now. And of course we do not get either of the ones that we want, so let's go with... I got a little bit of survival I can add in, so let's do that. Look, basically how I was choosing that was based on, if you look at my bow and the wolf traps I have, they are affected by things. Whoops. Whoops. Oh boy. Drink the healing potion. Again with the not good.
How difficult would I rate this game? That is a very good question, Megan. You've got a lot of good questions. I appreciate that.
I mean, I guess, I mean, the thing is, this, like any roguelike, any good roguelike, I should say, you can get really good at it based upon the number of hours that you put into it. I think it's more of a question of how long does it take to get to a place where you're getting better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One good example, for me at least, is that how long did it take for me to get my first victory? That might be a good sort of
Oh, I missed something.
mindset. Let's see.
Amethyst. Oh, it's just... Alright. I appreciate keeping the ball rolling with this Jagan. Oh. We're almost getting the gold reserves. Almost. Good. Yeah, let's go plus. Ammo plus 3. That's good.
So it took me a little bit longer. No, did they change that so that it's not? It's annoying. I was going to look at the length of the playlist that I had for. Actually, I think I could. Let me see. Go into Steam instead and see when I ended up getting the achievement for beating the Hand of the King. That would be a good idea. So I first started playing the game in February 2018, and I did not beat the hand until May. So about 4 months of playing, maybe a few hours each week. Ah, here's another rune. This lets you unlock the custom mode.
Nice.
This was one of the things that they ended up adding in the 1.1 update, which lets you basically kind of pick and choose how you want to play the game. So if there's certain weapons you don't want to have pop up in the loot pool, you can just lock them back away.
Very helpful for the speedrunnings. Actually, may change significantly. If you watched much speedrunning before that, you watched a lot of people trying to figure out, basically, what am I trying to say? They spent a lot of time resetting, trying to get the right weapons. And, I mean, a lot of time resetting. Throwing knife.
It's also a lot better for just casual play as well, because as you get to some of the higher style difficulties, you kind of want to pre-build sort of what you want to have pop up during your run. That way you're able to better... It's easier for you to sort of pick and choose what you want to have to make it better fit your play style or a particular set of synergies you want to aim for. But yeah, I'd say it's not an easy game.
No, it's definitely one that takes practice. Can confirm, practice required.
It is... I would say that with the balance changes that they've made since the official release, with the 1.1 and the 1.2 updates, the game is a little bit easier now for new players.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
With the zero cell difficulty, it's a little bit on the easier... The difficulty curve isn't nearly as steep. You do still need to kind of grind a little bit in order to get the cells that you need to get more blueprints, more play styles, as well as just more powerful equipment by putting cells into the stores or into the forge. Whereas some of the higher cell difficulties, once you've beaten the game and gotten into sort of the new game plus territory, that's been made a little bit more difficult, but a little bit more fair.
Explain what you mean fair. Like it's not as...
One of the bigger details, I would say. So, I think the biggest thing for so it's still tougher. It's tougher now than it was because they've added new enemies that only appear on the higher cell difficulties that are, well, you have to relearn, you have to learn new patterns, and they're tougher overall just because, just the patterns are different, and they also just are patterns that you're not used to, or are just more challenging patterns based off of ones that you've already seen. There's also, once you get to the highest cell difficulties, 4 and 5 cell difficulties, there is an extra mechanic that is added on, which is called malaise, where if you take damage, you get, it's sort of a second health bar of sorts, where if you take damage, a little orange bar appears above your health bar, and if you end up getting 10 of those 10 of those infection points, well, you are down to only 10% of your health. So it's one of those things where it's like yeah. And that's what it used to be, where with the 1.0 update, if you took too much of that malaise infection, 10 points of malaise, you're dead. Which just it turned the game away from just trying to mitigate damage or trying to just play around it, and turned it more into don't get hit. And there really wasn't easy ways to reduce that malaise. With the 1.1, and more specifically the 1.2 update, they really they made it so that it was a lot more fair, such that, well, taking 10 points of malaise no longer instant kills you. It gives you sort of a last chance to get a flask charge or not instantly die. And there are also additional, some of the mutations also give you better ways to avoid, to mitigate some of that malaise damage as well. So it's more difficult, but it's also a little bit more fair in that you're not completely ruined if you end up taking too many hits.
This was the first area, like, of the game that I really liked. And what I liked about it was the, just the fact that there was different areas and different paths. It felt like it's trying to progress you some direction, even though, you know, in the same way, you're let's be honest, you're still going through procedurally generated levels, but it felt more decisive, like you had a specific path or purpose or direction that you were going. I don't know why that is. Just it really appealed to me. And also, things like this. The first time I came across this, I'm like, sweet, an area down. I did one of those, you know, those things. Smash your way down into the pit of destruction. I was low on health and I died. And so it's just the fact that that happened. Ow. I don't know. Even with that happening, I mean, I got a great laugh out of something like that. But yeah, it's a fun area, just the different sections. It wasn't until I got to the part where you have to go into the different areas to find the keys, unlock the doors, they continue. I forget what that's called. With the pirates with their cannonballs.
The Stilt Village.
Yes. That...
Formerly known as the Fog Fjord.
Ah, fair enough. Get gold as well as a cell or invisible. Oh, cool. We'll do that, sure.
Well, there we go. Invisibility.
Why not? That I think is actually my... Well, no, I like the clock tower too. It's a tough between the village and the clock tower. Kind of my two favorites, I'd say, right now.
For me, as far as music, the clock tower is very, very high on that list.
I keep turning around. Ow.
And for me, I ended up getting... Maybe because the route that I tended to take on some of my runs, because at one point, the Times doors used to have stat scrolls behind them, which kind of forced you one direction. Jaeged was asking, would you say that before that patch completing that difficulty, it gave the player more of a sense of accomplishment? I'm not really sure. For me, I've only ever beaten up to the third cell. I have on my early access save file, I have the fourth boss cell unlocked, but I never gave it a try because the malaise mechanic was too much of it kind of scared me away from it. Because I knew just for my play style, which tended to go more survival based, was at a severe disadvantage with the malaise mechanic. Nowadays, I actually feel like at some point I could probably manage the 4-cell difficulty. So in that sense, it felt more unobtainable than it would ever have been like a sense of accomplishment. And it's still tough as nails. Don't get me wrong. The higher cell difficulties are still just absolutely, like, getting to that point. Let me take a peek at the global achievement stats on Steam for how many people have gotten the higher cell difficulties. Like, only about 1% of people that have purchased the game have won on the 4th cell difficulty. It is not an easy thing to do.
That's not worth it. Trying to see if that was worth an upgrade. It's definitely not. Alright, we'll keep going.
But it's interesting how with the balance changes that they've made, where at one point there used to be stat scrolls behind the time doors, and there isn't now, which means that it's no longer like there's no longer like an ideal route. Um,
Which is absolutely amazing because, you know, versus, you know, other games that you'll play, or that I like to play, they've got the idea of progression between different levels. You tend to see the same game played over and over again, versus, I think this is the third run we've done here in this episode, and I've done 3 different routes.
yeah,
You know,
it's almost like Star Fox 64, which is one of my favorite games from my childhood, which kind of probably one of the reasons why I like that mechanic so much in Dead Cells, because you get so much variety, so many different paths that you can take that no one run is really... Oh! Is this the area? No, it is not the area I was thinking of.
I got a blueprint,
There
though.
is still something there.
Stun grenade.
Yeah, that's still a blueprint to grab, but there is another... If you get to the end and it looks like this again, there is another blueprint hiding at the end of the ramparts, depending on the world generation. Not in this one, sadly.
So the question is, if I go down, is there anything down there? I don't think there is.
Not here, no.
That's too bad. I've YOLO'd it a number of times. Like, I think there might be. I'm going for it. And then I was wrong.
There's not, no. But there is... So I've not played Dark Souls, but apparently there is, in one of the Dark Souls games, some sort of, like, mechanic where there's, like, a hidden invisible platform. Am I misunderstanding that, or am I mistaking that for a different game?
I have not played Dark Souls. I've only watched people play it and decided, you know what?
Not my kind of game?
No, I like the game. It's fun to watch. It's just not my play style of game.
Right. Let me see.
I mean, to be honest, for me...
Okay, so Jagen has confirmed that Dark Souls 1 has a invisible platform that you can run across, and there is a reference to that here in the ramparts with some of the world generation.
That's good to know.
And that will actually unlock one of my favorite bows when I do decide to do a bow and arrow playthrough, which is the Nerves of Steel, which is a bow and arrow which has a... if you release it at the perfect timing, you get a critical hit. And it's a pretty substantial...
I have actually played with that. That is... Unfortunately, food does nothing. Oh no, it does.
You don't have that. You don't have that mutation.
I had that last time. That's right. I was like, oh.
But with what Jagen had said, he only brought up the sense of accomplishment bits because of all the ridiculous challenges people have completed on many games that wasn't an actual achievement. And yeah, there are definitely ways to play around with the way that Dead Cells plays to do different challenges. Let me quickly pop open Dead Cells on my computer and look at the Crystal Caves when you go to fight one of the main bosses, Seath the Scaleless. Okay. Was there like a hidden weapon hiding behind there that was kind of similar to the Nerves of Steel and Dead Cells then, where the damage that you would get would be higher if you got the timing correct? I'm actually kind of curious now. But with Dead Cells, in the custom modes, there is actually quite a couple of different things that you can add into the game that make it a little bit more challenging. Like, for example, there is the Sleeping Sanctuary... No, not Sleeping Sanctuary. Could I repeat the question? Yeah. So, the reference in Dead Cells to that particular area in... Dark Souls with the transparent platform. There is a... here you get a blueprint for a weapon that does extra damage to targets if you shoot the bow at the right timing. So it's sort of you have to get the timing right for the bow and arrow. Do you also get something similar with the Crystal Caves secrets in Dark Souls? I'm kind of curious about that now.
There we go. Gold reserves. Sweet.
Nice. A little bit of extra gold to be able to spend.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. A powerful grenade for brutality survival. I like that. Let's do that. Why not?
So for Dead Cells. 1 second, I need to do some moderation for something here quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I see. There are a couple of different modifiers that you can actually turn on in a custom game, such as no mechanical, besides that's, of course, parrying for perfect time stuff. Okay, I see. But there is some extra mechanics that you can turn on, such as if you know the Forgotten Sepulchre, where there's that light mechanic, where you take damage if you're away from the light for too long. There is actually a gameplay modifier that you can turn on that lets you have that in every single area if you wanted.
Oh my. I enjoy that for that one level, but I couldn't imagine an entire game that was that direction.
Right,
Does not
but
sound
there
like...
is sort of the fun little things that you can do to make the game more challenging if you really want it to.
Whoops. Oh, too bad. Ouch.
But I know that there are some people that in the early days of Dead Cells with the early access would do would only use one weapon for the entire game. Back at that point, you could.
Yeah, almost hitless on them. But that's why I said the double cross Wolfmatic and Wolf Trap. If you're having problems with this boss, just do that.
Really useful.
It's very nice on tactics.
Yeah, tactics builds tend to have really high-powered secondaries and you're squishy, but it's powerful. Ooh, that's a good one. Shots pierce first target. That's not bad.
Yeah, and I recycled it, so what you gonna do?
That's how it usually goes.
Yeah, well. Talk to her. Oh, yes. Now you can... Basically, dropping cells into here. This is what you're talking about, this legendary forge, where basically the more you can invest in here, the easier the game's going to get for you. This is actually increasing your... this is increasing the chance of how many plus quantity is going to be, It's... I highly recommend, that over any of the other stuff you can get here, because basically I've got nothing now, so... Oh, what? Oh, I had to unlock a blueprint, I see. Classic concierge outfit. You got the concierge under your skin, that's funny.
Someone did the trilogy of Dark Souls without getting hit in one sitting.
Wow. Without getting hit?
That's impressive.
And I don't have the thing that allows me to climb up here yet.
Not yet.
I'm assuming it's the spider rune, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's...
Again, I shouldn't have died. That's just what comes down to,
Well, you still had one more area to get to before you would have unlocked that rune anyway. So
here we go. Here's what this area that I like. It's
Fogfjord, as it once was known.
How come I can't go down? Whatever. Strange. Oh. Duh. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. Oops. Would help if I actually...
That's a weird generation.
Ouch. Don't get hit 3 times by those things, though. Alright, you know what? Go in the room. Oh my gosh. Almost died.
Those worms are a different matter nowadays.
They used to not be so hard. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it used to be that they would only split into those smaller worms when you killed it.
And now it's like, yep, there's more worms now. Hope you enjoy worms.
More worms. Would you consider this game, like most, to be much harder than it looks?
Yes. Because
yeah.
at first glance, oh my. Oh my. At first glance, it's like, okay. Well, at first glance, I can't do this level anymore. It's been too long since I've fought these guys. Oh my. Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm gonna die here. Let's just call this what it is. My death. Oh boy.
Don't forget your secondaries.
Yeah. And also that. I'll do really well in an individual level getting the secondaries, and then I'll completely forget. Ice grenade. Yeah, no. I mean, that's... I like my wolf traps, though. I really do. I like my wolf traps. We'll just recycle you. Alright, so now I gotta go back to the beginning here. But this is a lot harder than it looks, because when you first play, you're like, oh, it's just a basic hack and slash, but it's not. If you try and hack and slash this game, as you see I do when I panic, as you'll see what happens as I come back out of this door and have to now fight all these guys again. Okay, good. We survived that. Ouch.
But yeah, the game is quite a bit more difficult than it looks, and it's also quite a bit more difficult now than like the very early access builds. But I think it makes up for that in the fact that it is still fairly accessible. It is still it's not an insurmountable amount of challenge.
I would agree with that. It's certainly you can learn the enemy patterns, learn what you need to do, learn to avoid the cannonballs instead of running straight into them like I've been doing. Ah! Then get hit by a cannonball.
Got hit by the rebound there.
Yeah. Especially because this game, like many games that are like it, they respect the number of times that you decide you want to mash that button. And so if you just button mash like crazy, you're going to be in trouble trying to effectively play the... Oh, boy. Of course he's the elite. Oh boy.
Jaeger said that just watching, I've been able to follow mechanics very well, but I'm assuming when put into the actual game while playing it, it changes very quickly. And trying to think of how to phrase that. I see where you're getting at. Yeah, because there's a difference between playing the game and watching the game. It's one that's tough to backseat game, like something like Into the Breach.
Yeah.
Where with Into the Breach you have the grid coordinates, and it's very simple. You can tell at a glance what's going on the screen. Here, the gameplay is a lot more fast-paced. It's a lot more twitchy? Is that the right term for it?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of being able to coordinate your muscles and not freak out. Yes.
Speaking of freaking out, you're out of flask charges.
Oh, I know. I'm fully aware of this. I'm at a one-hit death going on right now.
That sounds like a tactics build to me.
A what build?
Always about one hit from death.
Oh, yes. I mean, I lasted pretty long on this tactics build. I won't when I exit this door. That's the thing. There's too much going on right here, too. Yeah, I tried to throw all the things, but that's... Yeah. It happens. It happens for sure. But yeah, I mean, the thing about Dead Cells... And here's the secret thing about Dead Cells, is that I'm not a huge fan of Metroidvanias in general. It's one of those things like Hollow Knight. I love the look of Hollow Knight. I like watching people play it. But like one of the only style of games that makes me rage is Metroidvania, except for Dead Cells. There's something about the combination of the kind of building your character and discovering things and getting runes and the different paths, and the fact that I just love the roguelike genre as well, so you bring that into it where it's, okay, now we'll start over and we'll try it again. I don't tend to get all ragey with this game. And so I like it because it's a Metroidvania game that I actually enjoy playing, and there's just not that many of them. Definitely a different. That's why it appeals to me, you know. So what do you say? Should we try one more? We'll try one more run through. If you still have time for it, R30.
I do, certainly. Salt and Sanctuary, my understanding of Salt and Sanctuary, and keep in mind I've not played Salt and Sanctuary myself, that one is a little bit different from Dead Cells, I would say. It is, both of them, yeah, they do both have they're 2D games that have pulled a little bit of influence from things like Dark Souls. One of the things I would say for Salt and Sanctuary is that the combat is very different from the two, between the two. One of the big things for me, it's kind of following off both that comment as well as what you said, Skip, is that for me, Dead Cells, I got kind of sucked in by the combat. Like, this was one of those games where I ended up picking it up and it was like, we'll give it a try. I watched someone play it, Elsa play it on YouTube, and I might like it, I might not like it, I'm not fully sure yet. But I was really drawn in by the combat, which surprised me. That's not my style of game, typically. But the other thing that I really like about it is that there's always just that one more run sort of mentality.
Absolutely. It's always the thought of, okay, this is the time when I'm not going to mess up all the ways I've been messing up. And I'll do amazing. Like for me, if I die, I mean, yeah, it sucks that I died, but at the same time, it's like, one more try. And it helps that the starting music here in the prisoner quarters is so, like, fitting for the game. Yes.
Like, this music really gets you going it gets you riled up. But I think with Salt and Sanctuary, though, keep in mind I haven't played it. I've only really seen other people play it on YouTube. Is that it seems to be a little bit slower combat. And I think that's one of the major considerations. And it's not a roguelike procedural generation. It's a lot more focused in the same way how Dark Souls is on the lore. Dead Cells has lore, but it's kind of bits and pieces that you kind of have to piece together. My understanding is that, I mean, Salt and Sanctuary might be very similar in that sense where you get bits and pieces, but it's one coherent, cohesive world. Dead Cells, I think they might have had an idea for a story at the beginning, but the lore was kind of an extra tacked on bit.
Yes.
Like when they started building the game, they might have had a bit of a story in mind, but it was a very simple story where it was like, well, here's this
guy, and he's not dead anymore. Yeah.
Where
the
gameplay kind of had to fill in the story rather than the story giving the gameplay in the first place. My understanding with Salt and Sanctuary is that they had a story to tell. Like, I think, it's been a while since I've looked at Salt and Sanctuary. Let's see. I mean, the two games do pull from similar source materials. I mean, the cells mechanic in Dead Cells, it's hard to not consider that that's very similar to the Souls mechanic in Dark Souls. This is the speedrunner shield, like I said earlier. Like, if you can get... Like, there is actually... I've seen one person actually, with a fresh file save run, or speed run, actually skip that first elite fight with this shield. Because you can get it after getting to the first time door in the prisoner's quarters.
I'm not executing the shield particularly well. It's something you have to kind of get better at than I am. But you know,
right.
There is something down here. Let's take it. But I'm just trying to get that time door because I'm getting annoyed and I'm not getting it.
Don't stand under it.
I know. I stood under it. But at 8 minutes, I had a lot of time there. That's the thing, if you start making the time doors, you can start actually taking your time in the levels and still have plenty of time. I mean, that's... it's a nice thing. It's a good thing. Alright, what should I unlock? I could unlock the classic concierge outfit. I suppose I could, couldn't I?
So that's something that ended up getting added with the 1.2 update, is these skins. There's not a ton of them that you can unlock this early on in the game, but you can get one for killing each of the bosses on each of the different cell difficulties. And you also can get some rare ones from other enemies as you get to the higher cell difficulties. In a sense, it's more just an extra cell sync, in a way.
Oh, keep doing that. That's not the speedrun strats to trigger that conversation there.
So I guess that is an important thing to note with Dead Cells, is that there is a speedrunning community behind it. It's a relatively small one.
And it's built, I mean, the nice thing is you see the in-game timer happening all the time. It's actually mechanics in the game based upon, obviously, the time doors and stuff. So if you are one who wants to just, you know, like I'm doing now, let's just go through the game, you know. You got to be careful. You can jump off a cliff and really hurt yourself, but you can head through the game and just live off the cells and stuff that you get based off of, you know, I mean, the fact that you will, oh, hey, let's stop and get that, though. Looking for some occasional upgrades, and, but it's, the end game is difficult unless you're really good at the patterns and stuff. I highly recommend checking out the actual speedruns so people actually know what they're doing, not me. The guy who's stopping with his shield every now and then.
And yeah, you do have a good point. To be fair, just about every game does have a speedrunner. to a point.
This is actually this is a fairly active speedrun community, though. I mean, there are games where, you know, oh,
the last speedrun was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was one dude.
Right. And he's also the mod.
Right. There is for Dead Cells, they do have a speedrunning Discord on the speedrun.com website, and they do have 3 main categories that they run. There is the any % category.
I died.
You feel attacked. Is there a speedrun game that you're the only one that speedruns it?
For me?
No, I mean, I meant for Yegit, who ended up commenting, I feel attacked.
Oh. Oh, give me money that time. Okay, gotcha.
I think that's where the stun grenade spawned.
Yeah.
But Dead Cells does have 3 main categories.
Whoops.
There's the any %. There is the any % Hand of the King fight, where you can actually beat the game real like in-game timer in 7 minutes 41 seconds. That's the current record.
There's also like the new file stuff as well, which is pretty cool.
Which someone has done a speed run in the most recent patch for that now, which was actually a really good run. Let me go take a look.
That must have been really recent, I believe, because that wasn't
Yeah,
there the other day when I looked.
Just this past day. It hasn't been verified just yet,
Ah,
actually.
I see. Ah, I'm gonna die. I was trying to hold the heal like that. Hold the heal. Didn't quite get it taken care of.
But yeah, the fresh file save run currently is at 18 minutes 14 seconds RTA.
Well, I think it's going to do it for the first episode of Roguelikes You Should Know. So we'll be doing this hopefully fairly frequently. It won't always be me. Any of the rogue leaders in Rogue HQ will have the ability to pick up and throw an episode together. RYSK for sure. And we'll just keep checking it out. Obviously, they'll be all here on Rogue HQ. And we'll try and go through at least all of the channels that we've got right now, the games that we know and love. RYSK, absolutely.
I can't imagine that was accidental.
It was.
Oh.
Because I honestly, I'm like, Roguelikes You Should Know. I'm like, what if that's RYSK? Oh, that's really cool. It sounds cool. I didn't even, like, until later look, I'm like, oh, it's RYSK. That works out pretty well, actually. It was very much an accident. I am clever at times. Other times, I'm not. I actually wasn't that clever. Yeah, so it's... I'm not sure, obviously, what episode will be next, etc. I'm going to at least try to do these. We'll try to have at least one episode a week. But yeah, hopefully others will take part and we'll be playing the game, so it's not just always me all the time, because there are other fun people, too, in our community who should play, and we'll sit back and commentate. But thanks, Jaeged, especially for carrying us along with a lot of the questions, and R30, thanks for being here for the insight. I appreciate that.
Indeed.
So, all right, guys. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.